You're listening to Into the Disappearing, the podcast where we explore true accounts of those who vanish and the spaces that sometimes swallow them whole. I'm Marin Blake. Tonight's episode is different. There's no missing person report, no case file, no news clippings, just a story. One passed down through 5 generations in the same Illinois family. The dates are vague. The location has been lost to time. But the details are remarkably consistent. This is episode 18, The Vault Beneath. Somewhere in rural Illinois, around the year 1893, a young undertaker named Elijah Rook was tasked with burying a local farmer, a widower who died quietly in his sleep. No family, no debts, no funeral, just a coffin, a cart, and a grave to dig. The cemetery was called St. Elmo's Hollow, an overgrown plot surrounded by rusted iron fencing and crooked stones that had long since given up their names. It was October, the air still warm, but the sky heavy with autumn weight. Elijah arrived just before dusk, his lantern swaying from the cart as he made his way through the fog-kissed grass. He'd buried dozens before, dug every grave himself, but this one would be different. The ground was soft, too soft. He dug deeper than he meant to, letting the spade sink through layers of damp earth. By the time the grave was ready, the moon had risen, bloated and pale. Elijah lit another lantern, wiped the sweat from his neck, and carefully lowered the coffin into the hole. That's when it happened. A sound. Not the thud of pine on soil, something wet, hollow, and wrong. Then, collapse. The bottom of the grave gave way and the coffin dropped straight down, vanishing with a dull, sickening thump into blackness. Elijah nearly fell in after it. When he caught his breath, he crouched over the edge. But what lay beneath the broken grave wasn't more earth. It was a room, stone walls, carved symbols, and at the far end, what looked like a door, half buried under soil. The coffin lay splintered at the bottom, 10 feet below, broken but unopened. He should have sealed the hole and walked away. But curiosity does strange things to men who spend their lives among the dead. He fetched a ladder, an oil lamp, and went down. The air was different in the chamber. Old, dry, used, like it hadn't been breathed in 100 years. The walls were etched with sigils, none he recognized. Older than Latin, older than anything that should have been under Illinois farmland. On one side, a recess in the wall, shaped like a human figure, as if someone had once been buried upright. That's when he turned and saw them. 7 coffins, lined against the far wall, all identical, black, narrow, seamless. All but one were closed. The open one held something. A skeleton. But the bones were too long, the limbs wrong. Its fingers ended in claw-like points, crossed tightly over its chest, its mouth, frozen mid-scream, and inside the lid, a black stain, like oil, or something older than blood. Elijah stepped back, lantern trembling. Then, movement. The coffin he had lowered, the farmer's, slid several inches across the stone floor. No wind, no slope, it just moved. And in the shadows, near the upright recess, something crouched. Not a person, something like a person. Too thin, skull-like face, glassy eyes that didn't blink. It watched him, and then it spoke, not out loud, in his head.
You brought another.
That was enough. He dropped the lantern and ran. He scrambled up the ladder so fast he scraped the skin from both palms, the wooden rungs tearing into flesh. Halfway up, his boot slipped and he slammed his shin into the stone. Still, he didn't stop. He dragged himself over the edge, heart thundering, lungs burning, and then he heard it. A crack, not from the earth, from his leg. The pain was white hot. Something had broken, maybe the fibula, maybe more. He collapsed onto the cold grass, gasping, dragging himself away from the open grave with bloody elbows and shattered bone. But the thing below the dirt was still watching, and now it knew his name. No one believed him. He never buried another soul in St. Elmo's Hollow. Wouldn't speak of it until he was an old man, half sick with fever and lost in dreams. But the land never forgot. Decades later, when developers tried to build a new road through the area, their equipment kept failing. Photos taken at the site showed shadows where there were none, strange figures over shoulders, blurred faces where faces should be clear, and one night, an entire backhoe vanished into a sinkhole that wasn't there the day before. No explanation, no follow-up, just a new chain link fence and a sign that reads, "Unstable ground, do not enter." There's no marker for the farmer Elijah tried to bury that night. No headstone, no record, just soil. And under it, stone, still waiting. I'm Marin Blake. This has been Into the Disappearing. Next week, we investigate the case of 3 people who went missing in the Pacific Northwest, a place where the pines grow so densely they blot out the sky. Near the small town of Sheridan, Oregon, 3 individuals vanished over a span of 5 years, and in each case, the signs were there. Until then, dig only where you're invited and never trust soft ground.
When the night gets bright and the stars align, we stir up dreams in cosmic time. A little stardust, a little tune, you're mixing it with the